Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hopefully you've had a great start to your week and we're almost to the halfway point. I know that we had 14, we're expecting about 35. So we're going to slowly start in with some introductions and things like that. And hopefully we will get all of our people in. And it's going to be a really exciting night tonight. So I will start off. I just want to welcome you all on, and thanks for taking time on a Tuesday night. I know that everybody's busy, but this is the exciting part about this special Zoom up is about work-life balance or equilibrium and trying to figure it all out. But this is just a really important part of the National Court Reporters Foundation Ask Me Anything series. This is our Achieving Work-Life Equilibrium or Balance. And we felt as a task force that this part of learning about this and getting more information about it should never be underestimated, because what we do is busy, is crazy. You never know, as Jennifer will tell you later on, you never know if you're going to be in or out, if you're going to be done or going to be all night long. So my name is Cindy Isaacson. I am the co-chair of this task force. I'm also the vice president of NCRA. And Meredith Bond, she's on here as well. Meredith, there you go. She's also the co-chair of the task force of the Ask Me Anything. I want to also recognize the Ask Me Anything task force members who help with this program, and they include myself, Meredith Bond, RPR CRR, Rich Dermosen, RDR, CRR, CCR, FAPR, Early Langley, RMR, give them a little wave early, Sandy Narup, RPR, and there may be other people from trustees from the foundation. If you want to give a little wave, I think Karen is there, Karen Tyler. And I also want to thank our, bless her heart, thanks Jill Landsman. She's the one who keeps us on track. She's our staff liaison, and we just could really never do anything without Jill. So thank you, Jill, for everything and keeping us where we need to be and at this appropriate time. So anyway, so tonight we have a wonderful group of panelists that we have brought together to answer a whole bunch of questions for you guys. And so when I introduce them, I'm gonna have them give you a little wave so you know who they are and you know them by name. And then after I introduce them, then we're going to come back and they're going to expand upon their who they are and a little bit about their background. First and foremost, we have Kim Xavier. There she is up in the top there, RDR, CRR, CRC, and CRI. Allie Hall, RDR, CRR. Anna Marlazo, RPR. Amy Doman, RMR, CRR. And Jennifer Bilstein Miller, RMR, CRR. Okay, so we'll start with Kim. If you want to unmute and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, y'all, I'm Kim Xavier.
Sorry, my friend.
Kim Xavier, and I am from Texas. I'm an official court reporter. I've been reporting at this point I'm going into my 30th year. I was just looking at that this morning, realizing that I'm about 6 months away from hitting the big 3-0. I've been certified in Texas for 28 of those years, and I have been in my current position in a felony court, meaning the big crimes. I've been in that court for 15 years now. So I was really excited to see that, at the beginning of the year, we always kind of reflect and these things kind of sneak up on us. So the time is flying. So that's pretty much it for me. And I'm in the Dallas area.
All right, Allie.
Good evening. I'm Allie Hall, and I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm a freelance court reporter and a court reporting instructor, albeit these days I'm more of an instructor and less of a freelance reporter. I currently have over 250 students, and the number's growing by the day, which is an excellent problem to have. And I've been a court reporter for 25 years.
All right, Anna.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anna Marlazo. I am a freelance court reporter in the San Antonio, Texas area. I guess in like less than a month, I'll be reporting 3 whole years. So I'm still kind of new. I am married and I have 2 kids, one of which just so happens to be one of Allie's students. She's taking theory with Allie. So that's it.
Awesome. Amy.
Hi, my name is Amy Doman, and I have been reporting since 1990, which in my head is like 15 years ago, but the math doesn't work that way. I am from Texas, and I moved to Indiana about 20 years ago, and I have been freelance reporting here, as well as subbing in court and doing some corporate work as well. So it's a fun career, and I'm excited to talk to y'all.
And last but not least, but Jennifer.
Hello, I've been a freelance court reporter since 1998. I live in New Jersey, do most of my work in Philadelphia and Delaware. I am on the New Jersey Association Board. I'm past president for the New Jersey State Board. I'm also past treasurer. And that's all.
Well, we're going to get into a little bit deeper into all your background and some of your information. But before we get too far into it, one, our dear friend Rich and our photographer extraordinaire is going to take a picture. Two, if you our panelists are going to, in the chat box, they're going to put some of their contact information. So if you have questions for later on, then you can contact them if you'd like to do that more on a personal level. And thirdly, if you have questions beyond what we have already, then you can put that in the chat box as well, because we have a number of questions and we're going to try to get to them. But anyways, if you have questions, we want to get to those too. So we're going to smile, we're going to take a picture, and then we'll get going.
All right, ready? 1, 2. And then let me do a backup with the camera because I've been known to mess this up once or twice. 1, 2. All right, got it. Thank you.
Awesome. And it just makes me giggle when we talk about how long we've been reporting. It's been 35 years for me. And I love all these people from Texas because I am from Texas originally as well. So it makes my heart so proud. All these Texas people. So, okay. Xavier, I am going to remember that because, I used to live in Louisiana too. And, we get kind of crazy with all of our consonants and vowels. So, okay. So, and I'm not going to call on any one particular, but if you want to answer this question, then just raise your hand if you have a particular answer to that. Oh, here's a great one. How do you stay focused on boring transcripts? We all have them. Who wants to answer this one? Jennifer.
I have a quick answer. Oh, I'm echoing. So my quick answer, I just think about the money the whole time.
That is a great answer. A great answer. Do you find that maybe doing segments, I always find like if I'm having to do a jury trial, I try to do the voir dire at the end. I go straight to the question and answer, and then I come back to voir dire. Because if I have to start with voir dire, I don't ever get very far.
I actually think that I think all depositions are actually boring because I'm not really paying attention to the content anyway. So, I'm thinking about when I can go to the gym next or what I'm having for dinner. So every deposition to me is boring because I'm not even paying attention to the content.
Right. Does anybody else have any response to that? Amy.
Think our business is just words, and so I'm always looking for ways to do it better. And so anytime I come across a word that is 2 or more strokes, 6-stroker, I will copy it over to my cat scratch or whatever you call it in your software. And so when I'm done with the job and I do my practice time, then I'll go through those words. So I try to use that time not just to get the transcript done, but to also make it easier next time.
Right. So, Allie, I know you're going to have some good answers because I listened to your session. So,
I think I'm a big proponent of chunking the transcript into time. So the way I get through a big transcript is I have 10 more pages to do right now. I don't look at, I have 500-page transcript to get out. So however much time I have to work on it, I actually set a timer on my phone and I try to beat my own record because I'm competitive about how many pages I can get done in an hour, for example. And we all know that varies depending on the content of what we're working on, but it can be really mind-boggling and kind of depressing to sit there and think that you have to get out a 1,000-page trial transcript, for example. But if you look at it like right now, I have to do 50 pages and then I'm going to go do this or whatever it happens to be. I think for me, that's a lot more manageable.
Okay, so Anna, I know that you have children. So what can I do to balance children and pages?
Ask for help. I have a lot of help. We don't have family close by, but my husband does. He stays home now, so he helps out a lot. We try to kind of divide the responsibilities because both of my kids are in sports now. So sometimes that means taking my laptop to their practice and I can edit some pages. They never have bleachers, so I'll edit pages in the car. And that actually helps me get a lot of work done because I have less distractions because there's no one there. And then a Google Calendar really helps us to stay focused and organized and who has this and who has an appointment on this day and all that stuff. So yeah, just accepting help and being as organized as I possibly can with the kids. That helps get a lot of stuff done. Plus they're really understanding of like, hey, mom has some work to do today. And then tomorrow we can have a whole day, a whole free day and have fun. So it's just balancing it out.
I like the Google Calendar idea, just so that everybody's on the same page about what needs to be done and where you need to be. Does anybody else have any ideas? Oh, Kim, did you have your hand raised for the last one? I'm sorry, did I cut you off on the last one?
No, we're good.
On the last question on the boring transcripts?
Mine was similar to Allie's. My other tip for that was just to put your phone somewhere else because if you're bored, you're gonna pick it up. So put it outside of the room, set a timer on the phone, and then you can go get the phone.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And that gives you the exercise to get up and
Move around.
early.
Is it okay if I answer?
Sure.
Okay, I think, yeah, what's helped me is hiring a scopist. For a couple of reasons. One, it saves your wrists because you're not the one that's on the laptop. And the other, obviously, the most important thing related to this question is time because you get more time. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, time is money.
It is, yep.
Does anybody have any other questions on the staying focused on boring transcripts or how to balance the children and transcripts? And I remember my kids always saying, how many more pages, Mom? And that always made me so sad to have to hear that. Jennifer.
I just want to reiterate what Early said, and I think it's very important to have a scopist and or a proofreader. I am a single parent of a child who is autistic, so she's in every special needs program you can think of, and I don't really have anyone to help me so much. So I need to be done my job. I need to take her places, and the only way I can do that is with a scopist. And you know, if I didn't have a scopist, I wouldn't be able to go to her cheerleading events, cheerleading practices, and everything that she does. So I think that's very important to have a scopist.
And not many people know, I mean, but Jennifer not only has, you know, she's only freelance, she also has a special needs daughter. She also, you know, exercise is very important. How does your exercise play into being a better worker and, you know, keeping you focused? I mean, how important is exercise to work?
Well, I mean, I always say in order to do your best at your job, you need to feel good, you need to look good. And I know by me exercising, it really clears my head mentally, makes me feel better. physically and mentally. It makes me feel better, and it really helps you to improve and do the best at work when you feel good. I mean, I'm always finding a way to fit exercising, and that's very important to me. It's a lifestyle, and I will find a way to fit my exercise in no matter what.
Yeah. Well, because we all know sitting there, all day long, your shoulders, your back, everything starts to hurt. And, so it helps clear your mind. Allie.
I just kind of wanted to expand on what Anna said about balancing the children with the workload. That's something that a lot of not only working reporters, but students struggle with. And the parent guilt is a very real thing if you feel like you're not spending enough time with your kids. But what I always did, and I was a single parent in school and I went full time and worked full time, so it was hard. What I always did was the same kind of concept of what I said when I'm working on quote unquote a boring transcript, but by telling my kids, I need to do 20 pages and then I'll play a board game with you, or we'll go outside, or I'll take you to the park, and just making it to where they don't feel like I'm pushing them off till the end. They know what's coming. And I found that that helped me a lot when my kids were younger. Now we're empty nesters, so I don't have to worry about that. But when they were younger, that really helped out balance everything. And the thing is, I talk to my students a lot about mom or dad guilt, because you feel like you're focusing on school, but in reality, you shouldn't feel guilty because you're actually trying to make their future better. And when my kids were younger, they were toddlers and I had a full plate. And, we've since put our kids through law school and college, and they've never said, oh, well, when we were younger, you didn't have time to play with us or take us outside. They were just glad for the things that it afforded them as they got older, with us being able to help them out. So it's hard to juggle all of it, but you can do the same kind of blocking out your time with your kids and say, if they're old enough, when my headphones are on, it means I'm working on something. Don't come to me unless there's an emergency. If they're at the right ages. If they're not at those right ages and you have some help, say, I'm going to work on this till this timer goes off. That's what I used to do when my kids were younger. And when the timer goes off, then we're going to go outside and play. And so they kind of got used to that. And that's what I found helped me balance, the kids and the workload and or school at the same time.
Now, Amy, I know that you're a big runner. So how does that help you in your work-life balance and trying to find time to do that and do your work and do family life and your new puppy?
Well, I think people that know me know I am a very early riser. I am also an early to bed girl, but I usually get up about 4 hours before I have to be somewhere. And I use that time to just mentally prepare for the day and play with the puppy. And then I will go do 30 minutes of exercise. And if I'm not going to shower, then I do something like yoga or a light strength training. And then if I have time to shower, then I do a run. But it's just whatever makes you feel good. We have a saying at our house that we don't make any important decisions unless we've worked out in the last 24 hours, because your mind just isn't right when you're not taking care of that part of yourself. And the stress builds up and anxiety.
I love that. I've never heard that before, but what a great idea.
Well, and then sometimes my exercise is every time we take a break, going up and down the hall of the office. And so the receptionists all know when I'm there.
Like, there she goes.
Yes.
Something's up. So I have a question, because I've noticed like different offices, and I know in COVID there was kind of we all were like putting out things of, everybody show your office space. How important is it to have your office space, and like how does that reflect, and how does that keep you having a nice office space? How does that help your working environment? How does it keep you on task, keep the work going? And what kind of tips do you have for your office space? Does anybody have any ideas for that? Allie?
I'm not trying to hijack this, so I was patiently waiting for somebody else to offer up something first. But since nobody raised their hand, I'm a big proponent of essential oils. So I have a diffuser in my office space. It really helps set the tone. I do a lot of remote depositions, and so I always have that going if I'm working, if I'm grading, if I'm working on transcripts. And then you can change the scents, and it really just having having it smell good without having to worry about burning a candle out, that's what works for me. But also just decluttering, because if your office space is cluttered, your mind's going to be cluttered. And so before I go on vacations, I make sure my desk is cleared off, everything's filed away. Yes, there's times where I get backed up on paperwork and I've got a stack of things here that need to be filed into the filing cabinet or whatever. But when you walk into your office, especially if you feel like you have a lot on your plate, if your office space is not inviting, for lack of a better word, that's going to set the tone for how you're going about your day and how you're trying to get the tasks done that need to be completed. So I'm a big proponent of, making your office space the way that you like it, the colors you like it. An essential oil diffuser is not expensive. You can get any essential oils as long as they're 100%. And you can do things like lavender. One of my favorites is citrus. So I'll do like orange and lemon and grapefruit or something. And it just makes you feel like you're not sitting in an office working all day, but you actually have the ability to be up and out and get a little bit of fresh air, even though it's just a diffuser.
That's a great idea. Does anybody else? Amy?
So I would also say, I do get work done in my office, but I also move around the house. So I will go sit on the couch to proofread, and I'll put my headphones on and have some white noise going, just so that I'm around other people, even if I'm not talking to them. And my dog can sit beside me, but also sometimes I just go to the library just to get a different space, because my chair is comfortable as it is. It's not good 24 hours a day or even 8 hours a day, but I just like to switch it up a little bit.
Jennifer?
I was just going to say I'm a big advocate on having a really good chair. Even though, yes, as Amy said, I don't want to sit on it 24 hours a day. But when COVID started and we started working remotely, I didn't have a good office chair and I was so uncomfortable. And most of my jobs do last all day. And I said, I need to do something about this. And I spoke with Rich about it and he told me what chair he bought. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to invest in buying a good chair, and it's literally saved my life. And even when I go back to in person, my back hurts because I don't have my beautiful chair at home. But having a chair has made me perform so much better at work remotely because I'm not in pain all day. My bottom doesn't hurt, my back's not hurting. So it's really important to have good chair to make sure that you're not in pain all day long.
Kim, do you have any suggestions?
You know what? I had a note on this one to say, don't ask me about this, because I'm a clutter bug. I'm that person that thrives with clutter in my office. When my office is too clean, it's not gonna work for me. But I didn't want to be discouraging to those. I didn't want to be discouraging anybody to not declutter. But I just feel like if it's too neat, there's something wrong. I don't feel like I'm working. So I feel like I want to go and mess things up. But one thing I
If
do
there's no
like
paper, there's no transcripts.
I'll say that I said that, but I do like cubbies because I can put clutter into a cubby and it's out of the way if I do get to that point where I don't want to see it or there's something that I'm not really wanting to address right now. But yeah, I admire all of you guys who can be decluttered and live in that way. I'm not one of those people.
I had a girl that I worked with, and she would always say, so I go into her office and she had a coffee machine and the lights were like, she barely had a lamp, and it was always so dark. And she was like, I'm so tired. I can't even get any work done. I'm like, girl, flip some lights on. Let's go. And so I think it's like whatever you're living in, whatever you're working in is a reflection on, the work that you're getting done. So if you're really wanting to get some work done, flip those lights on, get you a good chair. I love the essential oils. I had never thought about that. I'm like, man, I'm gonna load one of those up tomorrow to take to the courthouse. Now I do have like my little plug-in things that I take, but I think those are great ideas. It's just all what's around you, surround yourself with things that make you happy. Like I said, when COVID hit, man, the first thing I did, I painted this office. I got bird curtains, and I got a beautiful orange chair. So I'm like, it's going to be bright, it's going to be beautiful, and I'm going to love it. And it was you know, it was the best thing I did during COVID was make my little area. Um, it was perfect. So, someone mentioned earlier about the Google Docs. I know, I think it's maybe at Allie's, one of her program seminars that I went to, maybe it was in Indiana or something, but different programs or apps to try to stay organized with your billing or with your transcript loads or things like that. Does anybody have any of that information that they'd like to share about how to stay, like, knowing which transcripts that they have? Kim?
I like Transcript Manager. It's an app that I have on my phone. I've had it for I don't know how many years, but it was actually developed by reporters in California, I think. And it is a paid app. It's probably the only app I've ever paid for. I think it was like $12 or something. But I can put all of my transcripts in there with the due dates, like the name of the case, or like for someone with depositions, it would be the name of your witness, the date it was taken, the date it's due, how many pages it is. And it gives you a little calendar that tells you how many pages you need to do per day in order to reach that deadline. So I swear by that, because I can load all of my trial transcripts in there, and it kind of keeps me on schedule. And then it gives you a little, when you finish one, it gives you a little person that goes, ah, like a little graphic or something. Like,
Yay.
yeah, like looks like that.
What is the name of that, Kim?
Transcript Manager.
Does anybody else have any suggestions? Amy?
One thing I use on the fly a lot is sticky notes on the computer. I will keep things like, remember when you get this transcript back from the scopus to change the attorney's address, or, you know, little things like that that keep me. I have a list of scopus not to use. You know, just any little things I want to remember. I use those a lot.
I use a whiteboard and I'm constantly writing things, and then I'm mark it off or I check. And it's like, you know, like a list of things. They always say it's like, if you have a list, go ahead and, like, you know, put, like, make your bed so that you can go ahead and mark something off that you've already done, you know, so that you can say, I've already done this. Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, I swear I live by this Google Calendar. So one of the ways that I stay organized on my Google Calendar is I'll put all of my jobs in a certain color, and then I will count the days when it's due, and I'll put that in a different color. So then I can have a visual with colors of when things are coming up and like how many days I have. I also use the sticky note thing that Amy was talking about. And I try to get as organized as possible on the sticky notes. So I'll write like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the week if I'm feeling overwhelmed. And I'll put in little bullets, you know, start on this transcript. And I always say, I'm always forever talking about it on Instagram. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I'll take however many pages I have and divide it by the days that I want to try to get it done, and just be like a reasonable number. And I'll put that on every day. And then you also have the ability to scratch it out, like you were saying. So it just makes it more manageable, instead of feeling like overwhelmed. So that really helps, the Google Calendar and the sticky notes. I live by them.
Allison.
So I was just going to add on two options for if you work with a team. I really don't work with a team much because I only do like about 2 depositions a month these days. I'm mostly teaching. But if you have a team of Scopus and or proofreaders, the Stenovate app is a really good subscription to join, and that's created by Lauren Lawrence, and you can collaborate with your team through that app. Now there's a monthly fee for that, and after a free trial period, I believe. I'm not a subscriber to that just because I'm not at the point in my career where it really is beneficial to me, because I'm not doing a lot of deposition work. But as a Case Catalyst user, I do use their system where you can mark your jobs due, and then it comes up in red, or you can color coordinate it. So you can set your due dates, and you know what's coming down the pike. And I believe it's the default is anything that's due inside a week, you get a huge red line. well, I don't like red lines. I don't, that's like, oh my gosh. So I try to make sure nothing ever gets to the red line. But that's a tool that you can also use depending on which software you're on. But I know a lot of people that use Stenovate that have teams, and it works really well because you can coordinate with your team. You know what part of the job they're working on, what they've already accomplished, whether or not the scopist has sent it to the proofer. I mean, it's really collaborative. So I just wanted to mention those options also.
And I think that one, they keep like all the, so like all the names and everything so that if you're all working on the same job, then you have all the information and it stays with it. It's very handy.
Right.
Especially if you're working on consistent jobs. But I think so many times, like, I mean, people make fun of lists, it's like, we're in such a place where we put everything like here. But for me, once it's here, then it's gone. It's not like here. And I like to make those lists so that it's not so overwhelming, because once it gets in here and it's just like, there's like fertilizer in here and everything just grows. And once you put it down on paper, it's like, oh, that's not near as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, I encourage lists, but that's just because that clearly is my generation. But once I write things down and I write even the pages, like how many pages that I have to do, or if I just have to proof it, or whether it's the sticky notes or whatever you have to do, it really does help give you some peace of mind. And when you have peace of mind here, then you can kind of have some peace of mind, and that just trickles down, to your family, to your kids, to your spouse, to your coworkers. So, okay, let's get to our next questions. Let's see here. So we've talked about chairs, but ergonomics, that was my big word of the day. So, how to stay and organize, achieve work-life balance. And we've kind of talked on it. We've kind of touched on it. So how to stay and organize, achieve work-life balance. Anybody want to tackle that one? Kim, I saw you unmuted yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think it's just like you were just saying, just getting it out of your head, first of all. I know for me, having systems in place on the job helps me mentally be able to leave the job at the job. So like, I have forms that I use when I'm in trial. Like I know when I tick these things off that it's not gonna bother me. Like I'm not gonna be awake at night wondering, did I do this? Did I do that? And when I first started working, I was actually having nightmares and talking in my sleep. And my husband was asking me, well, what's a jury charge? Because we had to prepare the charges back when I first started. And that just bothered me so much because I wasn't confident in that. So I created all these little forms where I can tick things off and I know that I've done them, and it doesn't weigh on my subconscious, I guess, my subconscious mind. And just having those systems in place really helps. Whereas, we were talking about the clutter, like it may be cluttered around me, but whatever I'm working on, it's all in place. So I think just having systems as you learn more about what you need to do and what you need to keep up with really helps, and developing your own systems rather than trying to take on somebody else's.
Yeah, I remember first getting out of school, and I think everybody can, we can all agree on this one, that you've spent so much time in school and you've practiced and practiced and worked, and you finally get out of school and you're like, oh my gosh, now I can watch some soap operas, and I can, watch a little Dr. Phil, and I can do, and then you realize, well, that demo I took 3 days ago is not going to do itself. And so you kind of have to do this little balance thing of, okay, this is serious business. I got to do this, and now I got to do the work. And so you do kind of feel like, well, I've missed out on so much of my life. And people ask me, what happened between 1985 and 1992? I'm like, no clue. No idea, because I was either in court reporting in school or I was in Germany. So I have no idea what went on in that span of 7 years. So we're like, that was a band that happened. I'm like, nope, no idea. So, but it was a matter of like, okay, I really have to get my work done. So it was trying to come up with a system of going, okay, now I have to work, and I don't want to work all night long. And I know that I've listened to Allie before, and I don't bring work home. If I can't get it done in my 8 hours or 9 hours at work, then I'm doing something wrong. I mean, there are times that if you want to pay me to do a daily copy, I will bring work home. But otherwise, I'm not bringing it home. I mean, either I'm drinking too much coffee or I'm visiting too much, and I need to rearrange my life. But it's been years that I just don't bring work home unless I have to. So, um, one of my
That's,
other questions was like,
can I,
how do I
can
have
I
a
add
social
something to
life?
that? Can
Yeah,
I add something to that real quick?
sure.
That kind of goes into our time management, like getting used to, rather than hitting that social media, pocket, taking care of little bitty tasks. And those little bitty tasks tend to add up. Just a time management thing, because I know that once we get caught up in social media, we can go down so many rabbit holes that you look up and you've been on there like 3 hours. So I actually set my phone to tell me when I've been on there a certain amount of time so that I can get off, because once it told me I had been on there like an absorbent amount of hours in a week, and I could not believe it. So, just learning to use your pockets of time will also help you with the
Yeah.
just keeping
Well,
your head clear and
it's just
keeping,
being aware. You
yeah.
just have to be really intentional about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and
Yep.
and we've talked a lot about. I know, like I said, Allie and I've just been we've spoken at similar things, and so she's heard me and I've heard her, and so you just don't want to have to. Life is, you have a spouse or grandchildren that you would like to spend more time with than a transcript. So, uh, go ahead,
So I just
Allie.
wanted to say it is so important to have the separation between work and your home life. And so that's something I was concerned about when I stopped working at the courthouse, because I'm largely working from home. I make a real important point of, when I'm done doing everything I need to do that day, shutting down my computers, turning off the lights, and closing my office door so it feels like it's not part of my house. That's as far as I can get, like, removed from my office space when it's right near the living room, for lack of a better word to explain it. But it's so important to have that time where you're not doing the craziness of all of it. And of course, we all understand deadlines and that sometimes it's unavoidable. You're working on a quick transcript or an expedite. You have to, work in the evenings or weekends. I get that. But you really do have a lot better mental space overall if you're separating those two things. And then just one point for the procrastinators, because obviously that's not me. That stresses me the hell out. But some people, that's how they thrive, right? So I'm just encouraging anyone who typically procrastinates till the last minute. Those of you that are like, oh, I'll get all my stuff done on Sunday and I can do 600 pages on Sunday. This won't be a problem. I'm going to go live it up on Friday and Saturday or whatever. If you just set a timer and work on it for 15 or 20 minutes when you don't feel like it, it's really that you're just putting off starting the project, not necessarily that you're dreading it. It's the actual starting it that's the hurdle that a lot of people need to get over. So usually when I tell people that I'm coaching on time management, that when you don't want to do a task, force yourself to work on it for 10 or 20 minutes. They almost always find that they're then working on it 30, 45 minutes before they know it, and they actually do extra. So it's really just the art of starting the task that's the most off-putting generally.
It's like going to work out or putting on your tennis shoes to go for a run. It's the same thing. It's just gotta do it. So, and it's like I'm trying to find the time. One of my questions is, you know, um, what's the best way to still have friends and get my work done in a timely fashion? Amy.
I will say that I work a little differently because I do work a lot during the week and I do work some on the weekends. And I'm a freelance reporter, so I'm writing every day and transcribing it every day. But my husband and I go to farmers market every Saturday morning, and we have a date every Saturday night. And then I have a group of girls I get together with once a month. And so those days and that time is golden, and nothing messes with that unless it has to. But I try to work my time around those times so I know I have something to look forward to, because sometimes I think, what am I working for if all I do is work? And I went to a seminar in Illinois, and is it Christy Anderson, was talking about mental health. And she said, you can't do all the pages, you can't make all the money. And I was like, oh, it was just a light bulb moment that you do what you can, but then it's okay to stop and say, this is my time, I'll get back to it later.
Does anybody else have any thoughts? We clearly have it all together.
I think when you're that
I'm
busy,
waiting for comments on the side. No, we have no one has anything in the chat that they want to say.
I think it's important what Jennifer said about the scopist. When you're that busy, you really have to decide what your time is worth. And if you have the mindset of, I want to make all the money, or I'm a type A personality and I want to have control over this product and not give it to somebody else, you have to balance that out versus the time that that's taking away from living your life. And I think what Jennifer brought up early on is such a good point. She is a very busy reporter. So she has her scopists and proofers that allows her to go then spend the time with her daughter and do the things that she wants to do because her work is off somewhere else, if that makes sense.
Right. As I was just going to say, right, as Allie said, and I mean, not only do I have my daughter, I love to go and hang out and dance and have fun with my girlfriends, and I do have a lot of them. And so I have plenty of time to take my daughter places and to have fun with my friends because I do have a scopist and a proofreader. And because I am a freelancer, I do work probably 4 days a week. And then and I still have time because I have a team to help me with the production of the transcript. So I do think it's very important to be able to have a life. I mean, you can't just work and work and work and not have any free time and not spend it with your family or your friends, because that's just important as working.
Yeah. I had a girl at work, she said, "Oh, I proofread in my bed." And so a minute ago when Allie said, man, that's why I turn off my lights. I shut I'm like, why would you proofread in bed? It just sounds horrible. There's like no separation between work and, relaxation. Because if I did that, I would be stressed out every time I would just, because then this never shuts down. But it is, I love to go and work out and, and just to feel like, okay, for just 1 minute or for 1 hour, I get to be, I don't have to think about, and not only just the work, but the really awful things that we hear day in and day out. I mean, I'm in a criminal court. Tomorrow I'm doing a termination of someone's parental rights, they've abused their child. And, these things that we hear all day long that really weighs down. I mean, you carry it with you. You may not think that you do, but we do. And so it's nice to be able to just go and, do these things so that you don't have to think about all the really negative things that we hear all the time.
One of my,
I thought I saw a hand. Yeah, go.
I'm sorry, Early had her hand up.
Oh,
Early.
is it okay for me to
Yeah,
jump in?
of course.
Okay.
Of course.
I'm a great believer in sharing wealth. And so I don't mind paying a scopist or 2 or 3, because in the long run, I will get jobs that are all expedites, same day, next day, 3-day, and I'm always in demand. So I that's my philosophy.
And they want you because you're going to get your work done.
Right. And when you have scopists, it's like we're kind of like we're always locking heads, like, okay, well, I got this right and you didn't get it right, or blah blah blah. So it's fun. We just have fun doing it, but we're always checking each other. And if you have someone checking your transcripts, they catch your mistakes where you don't.
Right. So Lori asked a question about practicing. Does everyone practice at their Zoom workspace or other places in the house to mix things up? Amy.
I have a writer set up downstairs and my office is upstairs, but when I need to grab that quick 30 minutes of practice, that's where I usually do it. If I'm practicing before Zoom, then obviously, and I've got my writer set up, I'll do it there. But I usually go downstairs, have my coffee, get my practice in while the house is still quiet.
I bet Rich has some great insight on this one.
I mean, I've been doing a lot less Zoom these days, although I have one tomorrow that I'm not really looking forward to. But yeah, I do my practice right here, right where I do a Zoom. and I don't tend to move around the house. And I always have my writer set up, usually, you know, first thing in the morning, and then turn it off. Sorry, Ali, turn it off like around maybe 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. But yeah, I always have it set up. If it's set up, you know, that's half the battle. If you have to set it up and you don't like setting it up, you know, you're probably gonna procrastinate and not get it done. So
We're gonna have a session on a Zoom up on practicing and things like that, aren't we? Isn't that
Mhm.
coming up?
that's the March one, or yeah, March. Pretty sure it's March.
I thought March was, oh no, that's March. You're right.
Mhm.
Because our next one is in February, and that's the networking one. So I didn't want to do any spoilers too much on the practicing one, because I was going to ask you a question about the practicing, but I guess I'll save that to March.
All right.
Hey, Cindy,
Yes.
I have so when we're talking about obviously this is very, very personal. So I had agreed to do a federal trial this week in a neighboring town, and you go, and this court is known for all of its patent work, and but
Oh,
this
you're in
was
Marshall, Texas?
Mhm. And
I
so
would-
this was a wrongful death case. And so I'm going, okay, this will be fine. And so this is how I think the term that I have been using a lot and that I really had to use on Monday was white noise. And when people are talking about something that is very personal to you or you have experienced, years ago when I worked at the federal court here in Shreveport, my mother had just passed away and she was a longtime federal employee. And one of the jurors was talking about he had just lost his wife to lung cancer, which my mother died from lung cancer. And I was real timing to the judge. I need a break. I need a break. I need a break. I need a break. And finally he looked at his screen and we took a break. And so on Monday, I had read all the pleadings and it was supposed to be this huge real time rush, which it turned out to be none. And the attorneys were so rude to each other that the judge mistried the case. But the testimony centered around the gentleman who was unfortunately killed had schizophrenia and he had dementia. And my husband died from a very aggressive form of dementia last year. And I hadn't really thought how that would, I didn't expect to hear that word.
Wow.
So you need to be mindful that words can be triggers for you, but you have to be able to not, we were in front of a jury and I really had never thought that I would hear that
Wow.
ever in a trial or a deposition. And I'm sitting there going, white noise, white noise, white noise. Because if you just, you're not listening, you're just writing the words and you're not absorbing what's happening to you. And so we are all going to find ourselves in situations in our career, hopefully not too many, that are going to be very personal to you. And, that mental health balance and that, you can't stop what's going on. So you just need to have something to prepare you if that ever happens, just white noise, white noise. And, know that you're going to get through it because it's important to you, but not to, those other people would be empathetic, but that's just not what they're there for. So just be able to be prepared for those moments that are going to take you aback and take your breath away. And you're going, all these people are, and you can't make you're trying not to be expressive because that's not appropriate. And just how can you handle those moments? So just, be prepared for that.
Right.
And can you be? No, I was not, but I just was in that instant. I just had white noise has just kind of become my mantra. And So just be prepared for those moments because you never know when they're gonna pop up on you.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't. You do not know. And these things that we hear, like I said, they take you by surprise. I do want to remind, of course, that's why I have a co-chair, is because she's reminding us that we have more of these Ask Me Anything Zoom up sessions on the last Tuesday of the months of February, March, and April, and perhaps May. Do we have May? March and February, March, and April. Yes. So we have the power of networking, the importance of networking, and then practicing is March, and then April is all about Louisville. So that's going to be exciting stuff. So if we could talk for 9 more minutes, and I'm very happy to do that. And if anybody else has any other suggestions that they're going, ooh, I had the best idea about how to have work-life balance and how to, and you're not always going to have, I mean, there's going to be days where you've got everything that's raining around you and you're going to have transcripts galore. And there's been this old joke for as long as I've been a reporter. It's like, what's the difference between a court reporter and a puppy? A puppy stops whining after 6 weeks. That's because court reporters, where it's like, we have too much work, we don't have enough work, we have too much work. So there's always going to be something, and that's just kind of a joke. That's just, because there's always work, there's always this, there's so much stuff, and it's just keeping it organized. And like I think Anna said, you just take it that elephant one bite at a time. And sometimes you're going to feel a little bit more stressed, and you're going to feel your shoulders up to here. And you work it out, and you say, this is what I'm going to do. Don't hide yourself under a pillow and say, I'm just going to hide underneath here and it's going to go away, because it's not going to go away. Those transcripts are never going to go away, and those attorneys are going to be wanting, they're going to be knocking at your door, wanting to know where they're at. Jennifer.
I was just going to say, I was just going to say not to start talking about practice before March or whenever the session is, but this is about time management, and practicing makes you a better court reporter, makes your writing a lot better, and makes your transcription a lot, time wise, not as long. So time management with respect to practice is huge. You need to work. I've been a court reporter for 27 years, I think it is. And I'm part of Rich's group, and I still practice every day. And my scopist can tell if I hadn't been practicing, because I'll lose my perfect writing. I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely practice helps you. It really does. It helps you. It makes your scopist happier. It makes you happier. It makes your transcripts not take as long to transcribe. So time management. Make yourself a better reporter. Work smarter, not harder.
Right. And prepping for a case. I mean, don't go into a depot going, okay, now who are you people and what's this about? Prepare every single day for your cases, because your writing is going to be better and you will save time. Anna.
Okay, want to make sure I was unmuted. I did just want to touch on one thing about the work-life balance. We're not always going to get it right. And just be nice to yourself whenever you don't get it right. There's going to be some days when you do have to work all day and you don't see a lot of your family, but try not to feel guilty about that. Then there's going to be other days when you don't even open your laptop and you're having just the most fun with your family all day long, or you get to go on vacation. Just be nice to yourself when you don't get it right. Like I said, I really try to plan my day from like the second I wake up. Like I write down, wake up, and sometimes like I'll color code it even. Wake up, try to get a workout in. This is when I'm going to have my coffee and do my gratitude. This is when I'm going to be working. This is when I'm going to spend time with my kids. This day we're having a movie night. And no matter how much we try to plan it out, it's not always going to be perfect, and something is going to happen. So if you cannot literally balance it, just know that tomorrow is another day and another chance to try to get it right. So just be nice to yourself.
Great advice, Anna. I love that. So you've just learned it in 3 short years. Listen to you. I love it. And Amy.
I would also say along that same line that I don't do things the way I did 10 years ago or even a year ago. You keep learning and keep being open to new ideas. And it makes life better when you're willing to be open-minded and switch it up a little bit.
Kim.
I was just saying, I was gonna piggyback on Anna because I've been sitting here trying to figure out a different way to say work-life balance, because I don't think it's a balance. Something is always gonna sacrifice. So I think it's more about just being okay with whatever you're having to sacrifice at the time. So it's more about being balanced inside rather than having, trying to do this right here. So
Yeah.
I love the way Anna said that.
Jennifer.
I just want to reiterate how important your mental health is. Mental health by exercising, by making your time worth. It's just really important. I just want to really reiterate how important mental health is. Of course, everyone needs to work and everyone needs to make money, but your mental health is important. That comes first. So please remember that when you're working and doing a million pages, that's really important.
And I love the gratefuls. I'm a big proponent of, do your gratefuls every day. And we have so much to be grateful for. And if you can do your three gratefuls every day, start off that way, and you're going to have a great day. And I just want to thank you all, all the panelists, the trustees, the task force, everybody that signed on, tonight, taking time out because you have said, I want to be better. I want to learn something better about myself and about this profession and about how to make it all work. And I appreciate you all. And it's, getting close. I know Allie is just starting her night. She's got a class to teach, and I know that she's going to pop off of here and go on to something else. And we appreciate her so much for our next generation of reporters. And so thank you, Allie, for making time. Thank you all for taking time out, and appreciate you all, and have a great night. Have a great week. Go Chiefs.
Thank you.